Welcome to Sheepdog Nation Podcast, the only place on the internet where law enforcement and their families can come to be understood, supported, and stood up for. Here's your host, the always entertaining, down-to-earth, yet in-your-face truth speaker and Leo herself, Autumn Schmidt.
What's up, Sheepdog Nation? Today what we're going to talk about is how to deal with the academy as the spouse of a police officer. I think it's really important to hear both sides. So if you haven't already listened to the episode about what the police academy is like for the officer, please go ahead and do so. But even if you're the officer, I want you to listen to this episode because it's going to help you get into the mind of your spouse. And here's the deal is that I've done both. So I've gone through the police academy. I went through a basic 18-week police academy. And then what happened was my husband, he went to I think he did another additional 8 weeks in the academy. And then, so he did that. And then 2 years later, he did a 14-week canine academy where he stayed at the academy 5 days a week. And then he did another canine academy, I think a few months later. And I think that was like an 8-week academy. So needless to say, I've been on the receiving end of the academy predicament that a lot of wives find them, spouses, find themselves in. And I want to talk about it because officers, what you need to know, or if you're going to become a police officer, you need to know that the academy it's a very difficult thing for your spouse to go through. Okay. I can tell you as a woman who's been in the academy, like, I know what it's about. I know how, typically how close the people in the academy become. And it is something that civilians cannot understand because they've never experienced anything like this. Okay. And it is very fucking intimidating. It is intimidating to think about, your wife or your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend in an academy with these people 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. They're now spending more time with these other people than they're spending with you. And obviously the people in the academy, they all have things in common, like these common interests, and everybody's all fired up and everybody wants to, learn about, this and that, and everybody's all pumped up. Right. So you guys have things to talk about all the time. And, sometimes we find ourselves more interested in hanging out or speaking with these people who we went to the academy with, right? Or people who were in the academy with versus our spouses. And, and that's really hard. That is a very hard thing to deal with as a spouse, because it's like, you don't want to shit on your officer, but at the same time, you're like, okay, wait a minute. Why am I fucking last place right now? Because I'm holding it down at home. You're going through it like physically, but I'm going through it emotionally, and I feel like I'm getting treated like shit. And on top of that, I'm really feeling like you are fucking enjoying hanging out with them far more than you enjoy being with me. What's going on with our relationship? Are we going to make it through this? And it's real. That's real deal shit. And so, as a spouse, you really start questioning things. You become very insecure. It's very easy to become insecure. It's very easy to become depressed. It's not fun, and it's not easy to be home alone all the time if you're not used to it. But maybe your officer works night shifts anyways, so you're used to it. But I can tell you that it is an adjustment period if you're not used to that. There's a lot of spouses who do not enjoy staying or sleeping alone at night. But then, on the flip side, there's a lot of spouses who really don't fucking mind. I know some who are like, I get the bed to myself and I fucking love it. So I'm good with it. So, and it's not, this isn't supposed to be a woe is me episode. This is really just, I want you to hear I want you to hear the spouse's, point of view, because so many times as officers, we get so caught up in our shit and we just think that what we're doing that's life and this is it. And we're doing, we're the best things since sliced bread and just all this stuff. And it's, I think it's too bad. I think it's too bad because it causes a lot of fucking issues in a lot of relationships. And I've seen it over and over again Adam and I have gone through some shit. We've experienced our own bullshit. And, we obviously, made it through. And I'm going to give you some advice. So here's what happened. Wives, hear me out on this. So when my husband, he went to a 14-week academy, and it was kind of difficult. I was working the road and I had my own thing going, but we had our days off together. And when he went to the academy, that got all fucked up because I worked on the weekends because that's what police officers do. And I worked nights, and I'd have to work, doubles and 16-hour shifts and 18-hour shifts and, multiple days in a row. And when he would come home from the academy, he would be absolutely smoked. His brain was fried, and he was like, I just need sleep. Like, oh my God, And so like, I'm like, I want to talk. Like, I haven't seen you all week. Like, what the fuck? And he's like, I want to talk, but I really don't because I'm so tired. Like, I can't even articulate a thought. And then, so that's what like Friday was. And I'd have to go to work, and he'd go to bed or whatever. And then on Saturdays, everybody and their brother wants to talk to him. So he has supervisors, coworkers who are like, dude, like, where have you been? How's the academy? Like, what's going on? Tell me all about it. And then he has his family calling him. And then like, I'm trying to figure out where I fit in, because I'm like, excuse me, number one here. And, and one thing you'll learn about me is I'm not very good at, hanging out in the background, being passive, having patience. I am none of that. And so I'm like, excuse me, everything can go on fucking hold until you give me 1 hour of your time of like, hey, what's up? Like, let's fucking, kind of connect again. And so we experienced some of that shit. But what really helped me, spouses, is I kind of got my own life. And for some men and women, like, this is intimidating, and it can be scary, right? And I'm not trying to go into like relationship, coaching or whatever, but sometimes, when we are in a relationship and we do everything with that person, and then our spouse decides that they're going to go and they are going to do something different, it can be very intimidating. And that is the truth. Luckily, Adam didn't see it as intimidating. What I did is I decided I joined Beachbody, and I'm not suggesting you go and join an MLM. I'm just telling you what I did. I joined Beachbody because I was like, you know what? This is perfect. Like, he's gone all the time. Like, he's not going to fuck up my food habits because like Adam can eat whatever he wants and he is still in shape as fuck. Like, still has a 6-pack, like, what the hell? And I'm over here, like, I eat a fucking carrot and I just gained 5 pounds and it's like, fuck it, And so it was so kind of cool, like kind of liberating, because I'm like, all right, I've got my own workout routine. He's not around, like, because we always go to the gym and we work out together, but it was really like empowering to be like, yeah, no, I've got my own workout routine. I'm in shape. I'm eating like this. Here's who I am. Here's how I'm being. How cool is that? And it gave me this focus that I wasn't so focused on him being gone. I was more focused on myself. And sometimes like that doesn't sound good. And it sounds like I'm really like into myself, but it really helped. Okay. And that way, like, we actually had like 2-way conversations, you know what I mean? And because I was so like focused and kind of doing my own thing, like, it didn't matter that much to me. Like, he would end up texting me and calling me a lot more. And I wasn't like kind of nagging, and I wasn't up his ass, if that makes sense. And it kept things really good and really fresh. And like, and I was just so happy, and it really changed. Like, it just made me so happy. Like, I remember I'd go, and on my days off, I'd go up to the academy. And of course, I went to that academy. I was a cop. So it probably is a bit of a different situation than like if a civilian, but where to do this. And I'm an instructor at the police academy. So like, they definitely know me. Okay. So I'd go up there and I would have dinner. I remember having dinner with him and some of the people in his canine academy. And like, I went to the academy with these guys. So like, I fucking knew them, and like, got to know a couple other people, that I didn't know. And like, I had a lot of fun with it, and I felt really good. And I wasn't like, oh my God, like, when are you going to be done this? And like, was very focused on supporting him, but very focused on like myself. And it really helped. So, here's like, let's just, I'm going to just kind of simplify this. Like, as a police officer, like, you need to know, like, your spouse is like totally focused on you all the time. And then like when you're gone and you're not easily accessible and like she can't be having these conversations with you and she can't be texting you and calling you all the time, that's a big difference. It's a huge difference. And like, minds wander and they're curious and like, spouses don't really know, like, is the police academy, it's like we think it's a professional setting. We want it to be a professional setting, but like all of our minds wander. And, we obviously don't want like marital issues or, future marriage issues, and so it's very difficult. But the thing is you need to keep the communication open. And officers, you need to not shut your spouses out. You really want to take the time to explain things so that they can understand. Allow them that 100 question time, because they're gonna have a lot of questions to ask you, and you need to be able to, just kind of slow down a little bit and like take that time of accepting that is what is going to happen. Like they are going to ask you a lot of questions, and there's going to be a lot of questions and, a lot of things that come up, and like, you need to have patience for it. And I can tell you, like, I'm not the best with a lot of patience. When my mom asks me too many questions, I'm always like, Mom, really? Like, do you need to ask me this many questions? Like, holy shit. I'm much more of a better, interrogator, interviewer than I am being interviewed. Right. And so, you're probably a lot like me, but just have that patience, have that understanding, officer, sheepdog, like have that and understand that, she's like not trying to be up your ass. They're just trying to be a part of it. They're just trying to understand and be a part of it. And if don't be the dick that, doesn't allow them to be a part of it. I think too many people pull that bullshit. And that's where your marital issues come through. They come in that way. All right. So, how do I want to say rounded this off, but to conclude this, right, and to summarize this, how do you deal with it, spouses? You need to, obviously communicate, talk, ask questions, be involved. But don't be so focused on them when they're gone. Like really bring the focus back to you. Use this as an opportunity to really focus on you and your children or whatever you have going on. Focus on you. Now, I can tell you that the experience of a police spouse who has children while their husband is going through the academy is a very different experience. And I can't really touch on that with you because the only children we have are dogs and chickens. So my experience was a very positive one. And I just encourage you to, even when it feels like, this is going to suck, like he's going to be gone all the time, like, oh my God, these kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just asking you to, really step into your power and your strength where, and dig deep and find ways to just survive, and not even just survive, but like really flourish. Like, prove to yourself that you are, you can be independent and that you got this, because part of being a police spouse, either on either side of the relationship, is really proving to yourself and your significant other that you both are very strong. And strong people are honestly the only ones that survive these kinds of relationships, because they are fucking taxing. They are stressful. There's a lot of trust that has to go into being a police spouse on both sides, because you guys are not going to see each other like normal Monday through Friday people for a long time until your officer gets to that position, I mean, Adam and I, let's see, Adam is like 6 or 7 years into his career. And like, we are a long ways away from a Monday through Friday gig. Okay. Like, so, that's hard for a lot of people, especially like non-police families, people who come from non-police families. It's very difficult to understand, right? It's so difficult because you're like, wait a minute, like, why is this not working? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, what, you can't be home for holidays? Like, I don't need to get into all that, but like, that's the thing about being a police spouse is you truly are stronger than you could even imagine, and probably stronger than you could even know. And so this is the time where you really need to let that like come out. Okay. let's see. So I have a good friend. If you haven't listened, if she hasn't been on here yet, she's coming on. Her name is Rebecca. She's the founder of the Proud Police Wife. If you are a spouse and you need like support, go hang out with her. She runs a free Facebook group called the Proud Police Wife. She also runs a very excellent, very popular blog called Proud Police Wife, and she could help you out a lot with that. But if you want, but stay around too, because like, and she even has me going and do trainings for her, her clients, because while it's really good to get the perspective of a wife, it's also good to get the perspective of a wife who's also a cop, because I can definitely tell you both sides. But anyway, so that's a really good resource. Always have Audible books going. I always have audio books going. Always. And it helps keep my mind straight, and it'll help keep your mind straight, especially if you're the spouse who, you're going to have a lot of time like on your hands to be by yourself. Don't just like waste your time listening to music. Really better yourself, better your mind. And that way, like your monkey mind is not going to take over, that bad negative voice that just tells you all this shit's going on while you're not there. Make sure that you are listening to audiobooks. And if you click the link below in the show notes, you can go get Audible. You can get a free trial right with this link below. I provided it for you. If you guys have questions, concerns, as always, come right into the Facebook group, the Sheepdog Nation podcast Facebook group, link below. And also a new thing that we're kind of doing just to keep this going. I definitely have realized that doing this for you guys was a hobby for me. And then when I kind of stopped, everyone was like, Autumn, excuse me, where did you go? Like, come back. Like officers and their spouses from all around the world, like just continuously reaching out, like, excuse me. So, anyways, I'm putting down a donate button. If you really like this and you want to help me keep this podcast going, any donations are appreciated. Do not feel obligated, however. Okay. But the button's there. It's in the show notes. I appreciate anything and everything you guys do. And I will see you in the next one.
And that was another episode of Sheepdog Nation. If you enjoyed this podcast, please go to iTunes and let us know by giving us a rating. If you have questions that you want answered by Autumn in the podcast, submit it by going to the link in the show notes. As always, stay safe and watch your six.